Not being able to effectively listen is drastically limiting your ability to connect with people, and I mean anyone. Without this skill, you won't fully take in what the other person is trying to communicate, and you won't pick up on the deeper message they may be trying to convey or conceal. Listening done correctly gets you to the meaning behind the words. So, listen up. You might think that listening is just being able to hear the words that someone else is saying. That's actually called hearing, which is accidental, involuntary, and effortless. Whereas listening is the complete opposite. It's purposeful, voluntary, and intentional. Listening requires you to focus, reflect, and have an open mind. When you truly listen, you're not just hearing the words being spoken, you're also actively trying to understand the deeper emotions and intentions in what is being said. People skilled in listening go beyond surface level chit chat and access someone's inner world. They don't just know what your favorite color is, they get to the why that particular color is so important to you. This type of listening that builds strong connections, a crucial skill in both personal and professional settings. But what actually happens when you're a good listener? I'm Daniel, and with over 10 years of experience in the mental health field and a lifelong student of the unconscious mind, here's a deeper perspective. Creating a safe space. Listening is not just something you do, it's a space that you create. Not a physical space, but a mental space in the mind. It's where you, the listener, are fully present and engaged, and the other person feels heard and understood. A mental space in your mind might sound strange, but you could compare it to scrolling through social media while Friends is playing in the background, versus watching the season finale of your favorite series on the edge of your seat, fully immersed in the drama. One is demanding far more mental and emotional real estate than the other. It's the same with listening. Being fully present in the moment means you've allocated more mental power to that person. As the listener, when you allow for that level of focus, the other person feels it. This is why people say, I felt heard, I felt acknowledged, I felt seen. Clearly, acknowledgement is not a physical feeling, but it's an emotional experience, a byproduct of being listened to. The mental space that you create through listening invites people not only to talk, but to think and feel in an unfiltered, spontaneous way, which is when a deeper, more authentic aspect of a person's character, personality, and intentions emerge. You could compare this space to when a movie director lets an actor go off script, and that's when you get the raw, unrehearsed, organic version. Why? Because the actor was given the space to do so. So how do you create this space? 3 things: shut up, focus, and reflect. Firstly, you need to shut up. You have to stop speaking to listen to the other person, but also you have to stop thinking. Shut up your mind. You're not a good listener if when the other person is talking, you're just thinking about the next thing you want to say. So instead, quiet your mouth, quiet your mind, and practice silencing your own internal thoughts, opinions, and assumptions, and give the other person your full attention. Secondly, focus. The most challenging aspect of being a good listener is focusing on the conversation at hand and not allowing external distractions or internal thoughts to break that focus. This means making eye contact, nodding your head, using body language to show that you're engaged in the conversation. It also means resisting the urge to multitask while someone is talking. And for the love of God, put your phone away, not face down on the table, away. Lastly, reflect. This involves summarizing and repeating back to the other person what he or she said, but not word for word or after every sentence. The person just wants to know that they've been heard and understood. Repeat back what they said in your own words. Reflect back to them certain aspects of the conversation, showing that you've truly understood what they're trying to say. If you can do this, you're ready to go a bit deeper. Mentalizing. So mentalizing is the process of thinking about thinking. It's simultaneously considering the other person's perspective whilst reflecting on your own thoughts and feelings. By the way, there's a whole separate video on mentalizing that you need to watch. Being aware of your mind and the other person's mind is key to mentalizing. It enhances your level of connection because not only are you listening, you are also, in part, experiencing the other person's inner reality. You're not just hearing words at this point, you're feeling, experiencing, and even picturing what they're saying in your mind, stepping into their shoes, seeing the world through their eyes. This requires that you let your own mental chatter fade into the background and allow yourself to play out their perspective in your mind. But to do this, you have to let go of your own opinions and judgments and accept that the other person's experience is as valid as your own. You might have never considered playing guitar in a band, running a marathon, or date someone your friends warned you about, but that's because you're seeing things through your own perspective. When you're able to step into another person's world, it would make perfect sense. Of course, I'm not saying that whatever someone decides to do should automatically be accepted, but when you're trying to get to know someone on a deeper level, it's about understanding the why behind their decisions. Introspection, which means to examine one's own thoughts and feelings, is the fundamental component of mentalizing. The next time you interact with someone, take the time to reflect on what's going through your own mind. What thoughts are being triggered? What emotions are arising? Crucially, to be a good listener, you must avoid making judgments and take a step back from your own point of view to see things more objectively. That's when you can better differentiate your internal narrative from the external conversation. When you're able to listen effectively and engage in mentalizing, you can then get closer to understanding why people are the way they are, which takes us to an even deeper perspective: patterns and themes. Up to now, we've spoken about how to listen and reflect on what is being said along with your own thoughts. But what do you do with the information that is being communicated to you? A skilled listener not only pays attention to the words being spoken, but also picks up on subtle cues in conversation. By listening closely, patterns and themes start to emerge, giving insight into the person's thoughts and feelings. For example, you might notice a pattern of someone referring to themselves in a negative light, which could be low self-esteem or could be the need to get validation or approval. A parent or romantic partner might come up frequently in conversation, suggesting that they are on their minds or have significant influence in their lives. After you've listened to someone for some time, you might be able to spot subtle themes. It's like a narrative that frames the conversation. They may depict themselves as a victim, always wronged, a hero, always coming to the rescue, or even the villain, the source of the problem. This might point to how they view themselves, but don't be too quick to jump to conclusions. It could also be how they want to be perceived by you. Remember, your presence has an impact, and this could change the dynamics of their story. When listening to someone, you can ask yourself, what role am I playing in their story? What role has been assigned to me? By considering these questions, you can try to understand how they see you and gain a greater understanding of the underlying motives and dynamics at play in the conversation. To understand this better, it's helpful to remember that you are no different. You, like everyone else, tries to reinforce your own narrative, and you also have an unconscious theme that you want your life to follow. Here's our final perspective. But before we get into it, if you found value in this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Internal conflict and cognitive dissonance. Patterns and themes aren't always easy to spot, and they're not always neatly consistent. People are complex, shaped by unique experiences and perspectives, so it's best to approach these observations with curiosity rather than judgment. Sometimes you might notice inconsistencies in someone's words or actions. This could actually be internal conflict or cognitive dissonance. Internal conflict is the emotional and psychological struggle that arises when someone holds opposing beliefs, feelings, or desires. Cognitive dissonance is a specific kind of internal conflict where there's discomfort from holding contradictory ideas or behaving in a way that goes against personal values. For example, imagine being a university student whose education is fully paid for. Unconsciously, there might be a sense of guilt surrounding their privilege, especially when their friends are weighed down by student loans and part-time jobs. This could lead to feeling embarrassed by or even resentful towards your own family as a way to cope with the discomfort of privilege. Side note, there's nothing shameful or embarrassing about having your education paid for. Just want to put that out there. Or maybe there's a sense of inadequacy or boredom at work and it feels easier to judge others who take the less traditional path, labeling them as lazy or reckless. Sometimes this is a way of dealing with insecurities or justifying life choices. It's only when you've truly mastered the art of listening that you can start to pick up on these subtleties. The key point is that you don't need to be a Sigmund Freud level analyst. It's not just about hearing and noticing things. It's about approaching people with an open mind and a genuine willingness to look beneath the surface so your own internal biases don't get in the way of understanding what's being said. By doing this, you're not only gaining a clearer sense of what someone else is trying to communicate, but you're also gaining a deeper perspective into their own mind. This topic goes much deeper, especially when you consider how much your unconscious mind impacts your decision making, particularly in your love life. Click here on this video to discover just how much your unconscious shapes your relationship choices.